Good evening, Fernwood. It is your pop culture loving pal, Neil, here, and it is time for us to pop some culture together by watching Mary Hartman, Mary Hartman. This is the June 15th, 1976 episode. Let's do a recap and some thoughts about yesterday's episode, and then we'll get started. We began yesterday with a heavy conversation between Mary and Dennis Foley. Mary sees their relationship, and especially since she's broken up with Tom, she sees Dennis as a potential husband and really wants to be married. Dennis really wants to maintain his life as a bachelor while being in a relationship with Mary. I have some more thoughts on that as we go, but let's continue. The next scene starts with Mary ticking off the check boxes on which relationship is better, Dennis or Tom. She doesn't necessarily get to a conclusion about that, but she seems to have very confused thoughts about what is going on. Howard McCullough comes over and does some consoling. They kind of share their differences in the relationships and the troubles that they are having. That conversation is interrupted by Heather, who seems to think that Howard and Mary are in some kind of sexual relationship. She says that she doesn't want to interrupt them. She feels really awkward to see Howard and Mary together and says that they are in an affair, which doesn't seem to be the case because Howard's a gay man and Mary's got plenty on her plate. Heather then talks about going to see the movie Shampoo, which is an R-rated film, and that's a fun little side note there, but that was something that Heather was able to get into plenty easily back in 1976. I haven't seen the movie yet, but I hear that it is a hoot. That's followed by the Haggers, who are really excited by the progress that has been made with the song Vitamin L that Loretta recorded just a few episodes ago. They're very excited about that, but then Loretta gets a call from Jimmy Joe Jeters, the 8-year-old reverend that she has been working for. He has some mysterious item that's calling Loretta to the apartment. He wants to talk about something while his father is not there, so that's quite mysterious. Then we go over to the Shumway residence where Martha and George and Heather are together. Martha lately has been really excited by finding out more about her past since she was adopted as a child. Heather vents a bit about living with Mary and suggests that Howard and Mary are in an affair to the Shumways, but also suggests that since things are so stressful at the Hartman residence, that maybe Heather could move in with her grandparents. So that is yesterday's summary. Something that I was thinking about, and I neglected to say yesterday, with regard to Dennis and Mary and the way that they're talking right now. And something that occurs to me is that Dennis has been infatuated with Mary since the second episode of this series, when he first set eyes on her. And in a lot of ways, I think that's where this is. Dennis has been obsessed with Mary. He has been almost to the point of stalking her. Yes, they have had sex. Yes, they have a chemistry. But I think this is maybe the first time that Dennis is having to deal with Mary as a real person who has personality traits. And I think that is something that is a real concern, that Dennis has an idea of who Mary is without actually knowing that Mary is a person, or that Mary has human needs that aren't being met. So that's something that is a question in my mind of how that relationship may evolve. I don't love it because I hate Dennis, but if it were to evolve, I would like for him to be more aware of people's feelings. That's just a thing that I got to talk about. Let's get started on the June 15th, 1976 episode. We'll do this and we'll talk about it afterward.
Mary Hartman! Mary Hartman!
Come in.
Hi, Reverend. Hon, it's dangerous to keep your door locked.
The Lord will protect me from danger.
Well, but honey, even the Lord doesn't keep his place wide open. I mean, that's why I put up them pearly gates. Where's your daddy?
That's what I wanted to talk to you about, Mrs. Haggers. He's gone.
Oh, gone.
Could I get you something, Mrs. Haggers? A glass of water? Cracker Jacks?
No, thank you, hon.
That's all there is.
Reverend, about your daddy, where is he? What's wrong?
I've got a fierce problem, Mrs. Haggers. I've told to the Lord, but he hasn't given me an answer. I thought maybe you could help.
Well, hon, I'd sure like to try, but I really think it's pure sinful pride, to think that I could do something the Lord goofed up on. There is a chance, of course, that maybe he's tied up with something else and is busy right now. After all, there is only 24 hours in a day, even in heaven, I'll tell you what, you tell me what the problem is, and I'll just see what I can do, okay?
Well, the good book says to honor thy father and mother, which I always try to do.
Well, of course you do, hon. And you're real lucky because you only got half the problem that most folks have. Seeing as how your mama was took, well, all you really got to concentrate on is honoring your daddy. He's a very good man.
I know, but he's only a flesh-made child of the Lord, and the flesh is weak.
Something wrong with your daddy's flesh? Is he took sick or something?
More like he's been took by the devil.
The devil? Well, hon, what's he done?
Well, it's something he's been doing for a long time. Probably ever since my mommy went to heaven.
What is it?
He goes to those houses.
Houses? What kind of houses?
Well, it's a word that really isn't nice to say. If, of course, you're reading from the good book, like where it talks about the Whore of Babylon.
He goes to them houses? Woo! Doggies. Gosh, I didn't even know we had them kind of houses in Fernwood. Of course, I've never really had the occasion to find out if we did or not, but, they don't advertise, because it's against the law and everything.
Against the law of the Lord.
So he goes there, huh? Well, Reverend, I don't mean to, say that you might be fibbing on purpose or nothing. Especially since you're Reverend, but, how do you know for sure that he goes to them houses? Because it's not the kind of a conversation that a grown man would discuss with a mere small fry like yourself. No disrespect meant, of course,
I know, because every time he does it, he comes home, falls on his knees with tears streaming from his eyes, and cries to the Lord for forgiveness.
Oh, well, at least he knows it's a sin.
But then the devil gets him again, and he goes out and sins more.
Not in the same night.
No. He has his periods of grace while the devil and the Lord are wrestling over his soul. But the devil always wins.
That darn devil.
You've got to help my daddy off his wicked ways, Mrs. Haggers.
Well, I'd really like to try, Reverend. I would. There's nothing I would like more than helping that dear, kind, sinful man back on the path to righteousness. But I really, frankly, hon, don't know what I could do.
But there is something, Mrs. Haggers.
What?
What my daddy needs is someone he likes and respects to look him in the eye and tell him what he's doing ain't right.
But honey knows that.
But coming from you, I'm sure it would work. He'd be redeemed. You could redeem him.
Well, all right, Reverend, I'll try. I guess the least a humble person like myself can do in life is be a redeemer.
When contacted by this reporter, Mayor Frangle said that in the interest of future mayors of Fernwood, he did not wish to make any reply to the charges leveled against him. He said that for the mayor of Fernwood to discuss such unseemly matters as embezzlement, padding the city's payroll, and accepting bribes for changing the flight pattern at the Fernwood airport would set a precedent which would do irreparable harm to the office of the mayoralty. And that's the news at noon. Cleet Meisenheimer saying, have a nice day. I'm still on.
Okay, Cleet, you're off.
I'm sorry.
Oh, that's okay.
It's just being a gopher in the kitchen cookie and the weather person. I don't know if I'm coming or going. Anyway, here are the updates.
Thanks.
Oh, I didn't have a chance to change from the kitchen show this morning.
You look cute.
Well, I don't feel too cute. I felt like a klutz. You see, I was supposed to give Basil the eggs for the sarsaparilla eggnog, and I dropped the eggs.
Hey, don't worry about it. I saw the show on the monitor, and I think you were adorable. And the viewers love you. We've been getting all kinds of phone calls.
About me?
Oh, sure. We're the best thing on the show.
Oh, thank you, Cleet. Thank you a million.
Forget it. Listen, there's something else I've been meaning to tell you I think you're going to like.
What?
Well, remember that application you sent in nominating your sister,
Mary Hartman.
Yeah, right, Mary Hartman, nominating her as America's typical housewife consumer?
Don't tell me she won. Oh, I can't believe it.
No. Well, not yet, anyway. But she is in the running. They're sending a man out from New York to interview her.
Oh, that's so wonderful.
Now, you understand this does not mean she's won.
I know, but the wonderful thing is she'll be so excited, and that'll make her forget about all her other problems.
Oh. She having problems?
Boy, is she. She could keep dear Abby busy for a year.
What's the trouble?
How much time do you have?
For you? All the time in the world. Now tell me your sister's problems.
Name a problem, she has them. You know, and it's really not fair because if anybody plays by the rules, it's Mary. But every time she tries something, it never works out.
I'm sorry to hear it.
Yeah, me too. Well, listen, I better go and change.
Wait a minute. Before you go, there is something I've been meaning to talk to you about.
Well, what?
Well, me.
Your favorite subject.
Okay, I had that coming to me. And that's what I'd like to talk to you about. Look, I know I've been coming on like a swarm of bees, you know, really making a pest of myself.
Oh, no, it hasn't been that bad.
I know how bad it's been. And, the problem is that I've been putting on this Mr. Big Shot personality act for so long that, well, I haven't got the ability to turn it off. And I know I've been turning you off. Look, what I'm trying to say is that, well, I really like you. And I'd really like to wipe the slate clean and start all over again. That is, if you'll give me a second chance, think I'm worthy of it.
Well, I just don't know what to say. But I'll tell you what, I'll think about it. Look, I know that sounds like a put down, but it really isn't. I'm just trying to be honest, that's all.
I know, you always are.
And I really don't know what to say.
Well, okay, I guess I'll just hang out with that. I appreciate your honesty, and I'll tell you what, when you make up your mind, let me know.
All right,
okay?
I will.
I'll be waiting, and unless you'd like to go have lunch with me now at the Capri and maybe make up your mind there.
I can't. I'm sorry.
Oh, you have a date?
Well, no, I sort of have to go to confessional.
But you're not Catholic.
I know, that's why it's not exactly, confessional.
The helpline. Hello. What? I can't hear you. Can you talk louder? What? Listen, we have got a very bad connection. What did... Disconnected. Operator, there's something wrong with my telephone. I just keep getting very bad connections, and What? What? I can't hear you! What? This whole world is just becoming like a bad connection. I feel very disconnected. I'm very disconnected.
Mary, I have got to talk to you about something. I am going to come right to the point. I am not going to dilly-dally or beat around the bush. This is very important, and I, as your mother... Oh, do you still use pledge on your furniture?
Yeah.
You know, I saw this television test last night, and they compared pledge and toss and gloss, and you know the toss and gloss won. Was that liquid gold?
I wouldn't know that, Mom. Our set is disconnected.
Huh? Both of them?
Yeah.
How can they both be disconnected at the same time? On your color television set, don't you have a year's guarantee, a 1 year's guarantee on labor and parts? It's not a year old yet. I don't understand how they could both be disconnected at the same time.
I don't know, Ma. It can be disconnected. It is disconnected. The whole world is disconnected.
Oh, that's ridiculous. Our set is working fine.
Ma, is this what you came over here to tell me?
No, I came over here to tell you about your daughter, your own daughter, Heather Hartman.
Mother, I know who my own daughter is.
Yes, but do you know how upset she is about you carrying on with man?
With men? What are you talking about? With men?
Yes.
What are you talking about? What are you talking about? Do you know that we have a bad connection? Do you know that we have had a bad connection for years?
Mary, I want you to tell me one thing. What is going on between you and Howard McCullough?
Nothing, Mother, is going on between Howard McCullough and I. We're just friends.
Just friends?
Yes, that's all we could be, is just friends.
Well, that's not what Heather thinks.
Heather is a 12-year-old child. She is only 12 years old.
But a 12-year-old child is old enough to know when her mother and Howard McCullough are more than just friends.
Mother, it is impossible for Howard McCullough and myself to be more than just friends. It is totally impossible.
Why?
It's just because, that's why.
Now, you are sounding like an 11-year-old child. Just because is no answer, Mary. Now, I ask you
I can't hear you! I can't hear you! The planes are driving me crazy, Ma.
Mary,
the planes are driving me crazy.
Mary, have you noticed how more and more airplanes are flying over this neighborhood?
Oh, of course I've noticed.
And you know why?
Why?
Well, they explained it all on television last night on the news.
Well, I didn't hear the news, Ma. My set is disconnected.
I don't understand how they both can be disconnected at the same time. That is the silly... Oh, anyway, do you know what more and more airplanes are flying over here, over this neighborhood, because they have changed the flight pattern at the airport. It's as simple as that. That's all there is to it.
That isn't all there is to it, Ma. It's easy to say that's all there is to it, but that isn't all there is to it. And whatever else there is to it, that's what's driving me crazy, Ma. I mean, that is really driving me crazy.
You want to know something, Mary?
What?
You're a nervous wreck today. What is it? Is it your marriage?
I don't know.
And, you know, I don't understand that either. You know, Tom was good to you, wasn't he? Oh, he was always good to you. He never complained, no matter what you wanted to spend. And remember how nice he was about you redecorating the living room? What's wrong? I don't mean about the living room. I just love what you did with that. I mean your marriage.
I don't know, Ma. I'm just having these anxiety attacks.
Why?
Well, anxiety attacks. I don't know why. Anxiety attacks. That's all. They do. AAs, you know.
Is that anything like gas and indigestion?
Yes, that's it. It is gas and indigestion of the mind.
Oh, honey, do you have a headache?
No, Ma. I have a lot of anxiety and panic. I have like a
Well, what about
panic. Panic. I don't know, Ma. I mean, it's just like everything. It's just like, it's like Tom, and it's like Heather, and it's television, and it's telephone, and it's the toaster, and it's the dishwasher, Ma, and it's the disposal.
Well, honey, that's another thing I wanted to talk to you about, too, was Dennis. You know, in my opinion, that Dennis is at the root of that whole thing. Oh, mercy, Mary. Mercy. Oh, dear. You can't stop progress.
He had 700 wives, princesses.
Hi, darling.
Hi, darling. Concubines and his wife.
Is that all I get? Hi, darling. I don't get a little smooch and a hug?
I'm sorry, baby boy. Sorry, honey. I was just studying my Bible here.
Studying a Bible. You must have read that book 50 times. I think you know it by heart already.
Well, I'm looking for a special problem, and I can't find the answer to it. Now, I know it's in here somewhere because I've, well, you know, the Bible's got the answer to all problems, but I just can't find it for some reason yet.
What's a special problem?
Well, it's confidential, Charlie.
Are you keeping a secret from me? Do you realize, in the 2 minutes since I came home, you've done two things that you never did before since we got married up?
What two things?
You didn't give me a hello smooch and a hug, and now you're keeping a secret from me. Loretta, I think maybe there's been a kind of a change in your nature since you met up with the Reverend Jimmy Joe and his father.
Charlie, honey, if you're trying to say that there's anything in this whole wide spinning world that could keep me from loving you like I do, well, you're wrong, R-O-N-G, wrong.
You didn't tell me why the Reverend wanted to talk to you the other day. And you didn't even tell me if his daddy was there or not.
Honey, you're acting jealous, and you ain't got a call to do that.
Honey, I'm not jealous. It's just that I'd cut my throat if you got mixed up with another man, that's all.
Even if it was to save his soul?
Save his soul? You trying to save Merle Jeter's soul?
It's the plain, naked truth in a nutshell.
What does he need a soul saved for? I mean, he's the father of a reverend as it is. Now, come on. Tell me what's going on, Loretta. Tell me.
Well, all right, Charlie, I'll tell you the whole unpainted truth, but you got to swear that you're not going to breathe a living word of it.
I swear.
Okay, on your sacred vow.
On my sacred vow.
All right. Well, Merle Jeter has a habit of going to houses.
Going to houses?
A certain tickler, tacky, sinful type of houses.
You... bawdy houses? You mean bawdy? Merle Jeter goes to bawdy houses? That sanctimonious salvation salesman, he goes to bawdy houses?
Mm-hmm.
I knew there was something wrong with him all along.
Oh, Charlie, there's nothing wrong with him. What ain't wrong with all of us? He's of the flesh.
I'm of the flesh too, honey, but I don't go to bawdy houses.
Charlie, honey, you got to take into consideration that he don't have a wife. I mean, the Lord took her, you know.
Honey, there was a time in my life when I didn't have a wife too, but I still did not develop the habit of going to bawdy houses.
Charlie, you're judging and it ain't your place. It's the Lord's place to judge. Our place is to help.
I do not want you to help Merle Jeter with his bawdy house problem.
Charlie, hon, even the lowest sinner is a child in the eyes of God and entitled to the loving hand of a good Samaritan.
Loretta, don't give your loving hand to Merle Jeter.
Oh, honey, it's just a biblical way of speaking. But see, the Reverend Jimmy Joe did beg me to help save his father's soul, and I just gotta.
Honey, why can't the Reverend do it himself? I mean, he's real buddy-buddy with the Lord. He talks to him every day. Why can't he save his own father's soul? Hello?
Could I speak with Mrs. Haggers, please?
Who is this? That you, Merle?
Yeah.
Merle, what do you want to talk to my wife about?
Honey, it's just a soul crying out for salvation. Hello, Merle.
Hi, Loretta. Listen, I understand you had a little talk with Jimmy Joe last night.
I did, Merle, and he told me the whole terrible truth. But don't be mad at the little tack now, because all he is just worried about your eternal soul, hon.
I know, I understand that, but I would like to see you. I was just wondering if you could come over here tonight.
Well, I'm sorry, Merle, but no, I can't. Well, because, I mean, I do have other things to consider. I just can't go whooping off, you know, anytime I feel like it. Just leaving Charlie here to fend for himself, you know.
Loretta, look, it's important to me. I'm in mortal sin here. I just feel like I need you to get me back on the road to righteousness.
Well, I'd like to, Merle, but I really can't. I mean, I've got my sacred nuptial vows to consider. No, I can't.
All right. I understand. How about tomorrow?
Tomorrow? All right. I'll come tomorrow. Bye.
Oh, now, look, Loretta, you...
Charlie, hon, the Reverend Jimmy Joe has called out for me to help save his dad from perdition. And I've just got to answer that call, Charlie.
Honey, the only thing you've got to do is to get clear of those two guys right away. You got to answer the call of your career. Honey, you got superstardom calling to you. You can't not answer that call.
All right, honey. I'll do what you say. I mean, you've never been wrong yet. I'll just go to Merle's one more time tomorrow, right? And I'll try and help him get back on the road to virtue. And then after that, the only two things that I was going to concentrate on in my life are the two most important things to me. My ever-loving career and my ever-loving husband.
That is the Loretta I've always known and loved.
That darn devil. I'm not sure exactly where things are going with Merle, but I believe that sex work is work, so anyone who works in a whorehouse is okay by me. I think perhaps we can question the morals of a person who might preach against this, who then uses it. I think the hypocrisy behind that might be worth investigating. But it is a real sense of hurt. It is a real source of pain for Jimmy Joe, I think, and reaching out to Loretta seems kind of sweet, but it also might put Loretta in some kind of danger, and that's a question to consider. And then at the Action 6 News studio, Cleet asks for forgiveness for the way he has treated Kathy over the last week or so, in terms of coming on very strongly. And then, of course, asks her out again. I think that his approach in this case is a bit more respectable, but since it is tied to a job and that he had hiring power and has continued to move her up the ladder, I think that might just make things not okay. I don't know. I don't know how it works dating in the workplace, but since he hired her and has continued to move her up, I think there's a few too many transactions that have gone on to make this just a simple case of, hey, I'm attracted to you. I don't really know what to say about it, but Kathy is clearly not attracted, so maybe just lay off. And we got a real tough scene with Mary and Martha. Mary is... I was very much reminded of... If you've seen this series, Good Evening Fernwood, for a little while, and not many people watched before episode 60, but some of the episodes before episode 60, during a few of those episodes I've talked about one of my jobs as a crisis intervention trainer. And I train police in de-escalating situations with the mentally ill. One of the role plays I did yesterday was someone having a panic attack based on post-traumatic stress disorder. And I just felt so intensely for Mary right now watching the show. It was really painful. I wish that Martha was a better listener. I wish that Martha would stop talking and just listen to what's going on and not say anything. I wish. And Martha doesn't have that skill. She doesn't have a filter, which is nice when you want to hear someone say something very sincere, but sometimes you just need someone to listen, and that's not what Mary got right now, and I think it contributed to something really painful for Mary, and I'm really scared for Mary at this point. Then we see a little bit of that Dern Devil scene too, with Loretta and Charlie talking through Loretta's process a bit to see how she is relating to Merle. She doesn't seem to have real, like any romantic interest in Merle, but I know that Merle is pretty creepy, and I would be careful of him myself. Of course, Loretta is a really faithful woman, a woman of faith as well, and that need for her to help someone is it's a feeling of kindness, but I also feel wary. I feel very wary of Merle, because we know he is not just a nice guy. So I guess we're going to see what happens with all of these characters as they move forward. Thank you so much for spending some time with me, and we will see you tomorrow night in Fernwood.